I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Happy Friday. It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. Thank you for joining us. 3 hours with us. We'll lead you all the way up to some West Texas Friday night pregame show action. You can also hear that over on 100.7 The Score. It is a Friday night in West Texas, and that means some high school football, and we are loaded up and down the slate.
Per the norm.
Every time I hear Norm, I just think of Cheers.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Norm.
Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, DJ Puddin in the house. That is Kyler Brown behind the glass taking care of us. You can join us on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Thoughts, comments, questions, score predictions, anything like that. We're within 24 hours. Gus, by this time, we should be in the Double T 97.3 Coors Light post-game show tomorrow. Optimum Game Day Live will start at 7, and usually, for most days, I should say, you have a very long Optimum Game Day Live 11 a.m. kick tomorrow, so it won't be a quicker preview, but we'll get you ready for that kick.
Dang, Clint.
Kickoff in Utah.
If that game's done at 2:30, the post-game show will still be rocking at 5? Is that right?
Ooh, yeah.
Does Bro know he's going to be signed up for about the...
Yeah, I bet he's done around 4. I bet he's done closer to 4:30 if I had to guess. But yeah, somewhere around there. Probably splitting with what we're saying.
Got it.
If you would like to watch us, you can do so on Fox 34 News Now, YouTube, Facebook, all that. Welcome.
And then let the celebration begin.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry.
I assume like locker room style champagne and stuff like that here, right? Like Rob will have goggles. I really, because it's the game that I want to win the most on the schedule right now, but I don't think anybody in the building wants to win it more than Rob Bro, so he might go full Rangers World Series if they win.
So he'll need the open week like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Gotta physically recover.
What's up? How's your Friday?
It was good. It was busy. Just right.
That's good.
Yeah.
No fleet work today?
No, there was a lot of fleet work, but it was steady at it in a way that, just stayed just busy enough. It was good.
We are going to talk plenty about that matchup with Utah today, although...
Not sure what's left to be said, but yes, we will talk about that game.
Kind of.
Fortunately, there are no new developments.
There are a few things that specifically I want to get into that I don't think we have talked about
very
much, but at the same time, I don't think anyone has really talked about it. And maybe it's because we've been focusing on the right things. Who knows? We'll cuss and discuss today. Did you take in any Thursday Night Football last night? Little Bills-Dolphins action?
Nope.
Is it because you were watching Rice beat Charlotte?
Nope. I was. We were binging The Pit. We're continuing our binge on The Pit.
How was that?
It's good. HBO Max, I guess. Yeah, The Pit. Brought in some Emmys Sunday. Dana and I decided to give it a shot. Now we're 10 episodes in. Just can't get home soon enough.
Are you an award show watcher?
Oh, not a.
Like I have to see who won the Emmys. No, I have to watch the Golden Globes.
I probably do peek at them more than most, just to see what's going on. But yeah, the Emmys is kind of an easy one to watch too. It's not just chock full of weirdness just because it's TV shows, right? It's not even movies. Oscars and movies. Mm-hmm. Emmys TV shows, and to me, I was watching it less about, this deserves this award and that. I don't know. But the beauty of watching that thing is let me get some ideas about what...
Yeah, writing that.
I'm going to Google that and see what this is about. Go, okay. And then Yeah, when we read the description of the pit after watching a couple of awards being handed out, like, let's give that a shot. Now we're knee deep. We're just
If you said that you liked one specific award show and you weren't going to tell me and I had to guess it, I would have guessed, I think Grammys would be my guess.
Yeah.
Because you're very in tune with the
I try to be.
with the music side.
Yeah. That's probably safe. I'd probably say that more so than the VMAs.
Mm-hmm.
VMAs just happened. That can be interesting. Some, the VMAs have had some. Of course, the Grammys have too, like some historic type performances, stuff that gets talked about 35 years later. Whether you like it or not, still getting talked about. But then there's some of the CMAs that are interesting. But yeah, I'd probably say that I'd probably land closer to the music side than the movie and TV side. But that really, the Emmys was more about, hey, the commercial during the Sunday night game. You know how that goes. Like, hang on a minute.
We got other starts, Gus, not only for Red Raider football, we also have some Texas Tech soccer.
Yeah, big one tonight. Big 12
action
opener.
Kicking off tonight. Red Raider volleyball just faced one opponent for their
like earlier
hosting
today.
of the Red Raider Classic. They beat Albany 3-1. They'll have Ole Miss tonight. We'll tell you more about that and the Juice, too. Kyler, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Clint. Thanks for asking. Another Friday. Can't wait for this weekend.
You gonna stay in town this weekend, or you hitting another NFL venue?
I do not know if I'll be going to another Cowboys game this year. I don't know if my mind can take the emotional roller coaster again.
So you're not going to Chicago this week? You're not going over to Soldier Field?
That'd actually be pretty cool. There's a couple of stadiums outside of the Cowboys Stadium that I would love to be able to go to a game and watch, and Soldier Field's definitely up there.
What's the top one? Like, what's the one?
Oh, as much as I hate to say it, just because of how the history behind it, Lambeau.
Yep.
I'd love to see a game.
Hey, you know who plays there now?
Hey, we're not going to talk about it. Okay?
You can,
we're not.
Micah Parsons.
You can see Micah Parsons in person.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You can also do that. What, next week? If you do go to a Cowboys game,
and they have
the Packers up next.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Week 4. They have the Packers have a Hall of Fame / museum. I guess they're on the grounds in the stadium. So. Yeah, I was acquainted with the lady that ran that there for a minute. But yeah, I've heard good things about it. A lot of cool history.
I did go to SoFi a couple years ago for the Chargers and Cowboys game. That stadium is wild.
This dude's a player, bro. Hey.
Chill.
It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is a Friday episode of Tech Talk. You got us on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by our friends at Happy State Bank. We are live from the First United Bank studio. Clint, Gus, and Kyler. We got this to start off the show on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. All caps. Less than one more day, boys.
Bum, 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 bum.
Bum, 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 bum. I'm so excited for this game.
Yep, I know.
Like,
I'm with you.
we've done the X's and O's, and I'm excited to talk about it more today, but I just wish it was 10 a.m. Salt Lake City time right now.
Yep.
I guess really 10:07.
I hear you.
That's about when they'll actually.
I hear you.
When they'll actually kick it off. You know, the back.
I need to get up and get busy tomorrow. Just calm myself down.
Yeah, we've talked about the environment so much over there. I say we have. We've responded so much to those that have thrown the environment over this way. You know what's something though that I do think is interesting, and I really believe this. I hope that their environment is good tomorrow. I hope their environment is good whenever they play whoever is the worst team in the Big 12 on their schedule, because I think that that's important in the conference. it would be nice to kind of build that up because that's something else like with the opinion of keeping
You mean
up.
some rivalry, some hate? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I just like when you think of great environments, everyone was like, "Oh, well, there's not a bad environment in the SEC."
Oh, I got
and then they
you.
wrap
Okay.
around it to the Big Ten too, which is just a complete lie because there's about 8 non-raucous environments over there.
Take that,
And
Purdue.
Northwestern's playing beside like a lake right now.
I have a brand new stadium. Clint.
Even then, when it's new,
leave them alone.
I can't imagine it's going to be all that exciting. And so, like, you
Take
know,
that, Rutgers.
the Big 12, I think, doesn't. I don't know. I don't think it has enough respect on its venues. But if you keep showing that off in primetime windows when you get them, I think that'll help. I don't know if you'll ever kind of shed that, but the idea that once Oklahoma and Texas left, well, there's just no good environments. I mean, you've built up your environment to be top tier. So start with you. BYU has one of the best environments in college football. I hope Utah is that. I do. And I do think it will be tomorrow, but I hope it's that way every single week.
Yep, I agree. Of course, I'm sure in their minds they're just showcasing themselves. They're just peacocking around for the Big Ten. Hey, look over here.
I know.
We're AAU.
I won't read the entire Message Board Genius Utah one I saw today. It was like 4 paragraphs. It was one of those where it was a freaking
Nice.
novel, and it was a Utah fan that was basically like, stop responding to the Tech fans. They're just lashing out because they're insecure. And then it was like, the Big Ten still wants us anyway, so we just have to... Like, we just have to keep plugging along and we'll get the invite. And it was a 4-paragraph novel of that. And I was like, well, that's insane. That's how you end up on this Twitter page right
Yeah.
here saying
Congratulations.
crap like that.
Thank goodness you posted that from an anonymous account.
I wanted to get to this. One of those guys in that environment that clearly needs to have a good day is your quarterback, Behren Morton. Head coach Joey McGuire had went on the Jim Rome show earlier in the week and talked about his quarterback.
No, I'm really proud of him. He's playing with a chip on his shoulder right now. You know, he was in the grade 8 today that with the Davey O'Brien Award, and I appreciate them a lot because, you know, the first graphic week 1, it was the top 6 quarterbacks out of the Big 12, and he wasn't on there. And he beat 2 of them head-to-head last year and had better stats than most of them. And so, you know, I keep encouraging it because he kind of is geared that way. He's a coach's kid. He's a real tough kid. And so he's playing with a chip on his shoulder. Thought he was really efficient. We asked him to attack the ball and push it downfield. They were going to play a lot of man-to-man. We knew he had to win our one-on-ones. He was able to do that, you know, so I was really excited, you know, him doing that. And then, man, we're in a great position. Behren Morton has his degree from Texas Tech, and our backup, Will Hammond, is a redshirt freshman. I mean, we feel like we're going to go through 2 quarterbacks that will be here for their entire career and graduate from Texas Tech. So we're really fortunate because that's not what's happening right now in college football.
You know, it's a little bit of a turn towards his look towards the future, too, which, not a quarterback, by the way. You picked up another 4-star defensive lineman yesterday from DeSoto. But what I liked, you know, he talked, this obviously coming off of the Oregon State game, and he talked about something we knew going into that game, right? Like they were going to press you. You were going to have those one-on-one opportunities. What I think is interesting about it is there's a lot of similar things that were, now it's a giant jump up in the talent level and just how good the defenses are. But there's a lot of things that we said about Oregon State and they said about Oregon State schematically that we're saying about Utah. Mm-hmm. It's not a one-for-one defense, but, you know, it is kind of nice that you've seen, you know, sometimes it's like in basketball, hey, we're going to schedule Kennesaw State because they run a system that's a lot like, you know, Colorado, and we're going to see them later on in the year. Something like that. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but it's nice that you kind of have seen a little bit of that set up from a defense.
Yeah, back when we set that thing up with Oregon State in 2018, that probably wasn't set up.
Yeah,
with the mind.
it wasn't thinking
it was,
like that.
Yeah, it was just the
You didn't know Utah was going to be in the conference with you at that point.
And it was just a home and home with a Power 5 school. And so that's what that was. But now it kind of pans out nicely. So maybe give us a little bit of a scout team, if you will, that kind of scout team prep where you're like out there
treated
trying
them like
to
a scout team.
mimic some things. And I do think there's a lot on our receiver room tomorrow.
Oh yeah,
Those dudes
Big
have to
time.
perform well because they are going to get singled up a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to have to go make some plays.
And that's where, I wonder if you aren't running the ball just super efficiently tomorrow, I don't necessarily, especially if it's, hey, they're doing what they're doing and they're going to, they're loading the box, have a bunch of people at the line of scrimmage, they're trusting their cornerbacks and their nickel back and their safeties. I mean, don't you want to push the ball down the field against that anyways? And boy, the offenses just look so good. That's what, if you can protect Behren Morton, I think he can have a really big day in Rice-Eccles.
I agree. I think we need to be able to. I mean, there will be points along the way. You have to be able to impose your will.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big concern early on about how we're going to run the ball in short yardage. No,
Mm-hmm.
here you go. Here it is, because that's usually a big part of red zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's so much interest with the offense. Not that it's going to be easy for the defense, but I hope the offense can go score a bunch of points here.
When we come back, we'll go back in time. It's Tech Talk and Double T 97.3.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Happy Friday to you, Clint, Gus, and Kyler. We'll go up to 6 o'clock. At that time, it is the West Texas Friday Night Preview Show. They'll lead you into Friendship Tiger football here on Double T 97.3 at 6:30 as they take on the Lubbock Cooper Pirates. You can hear the Pirate Call at 6:30 over on 100.7 The Score, where you can also hear the West Texas Friday Night Preview Show at 6 o'clock. We got this on the Yates Flooring Center chat line where you can hit us up as well from Lindell Jeff. Do y'all notice that everything that looks good on Netflix is Norwegian with overdubbing? I don't know if I've noticed it. I don't really cruise around Netflix that much though.
I don't either. And
That's
this was
very funny.
Yeah, the one I was talking about earlier is on HBO or Max or whatever. HBO Max. Well, Clint, you can decipher all that.
Yeah.
I just know it's one of the channels I have.
Mm-hmm.
Don't send me some Apple TV, some Peacock thing. I don't have them all.
This is on
It's
Flow
a failing,
Sports.
obviously.
He also said, I like Mike's idea of finding out what's good watching the Emmys. I'll just skip that beating and find the list of what's good. Wreckham, Texas Tech 38, Utah 17. If you win
Clint.
any way like that, I mean, if you win, it's going to be hard. But if you
will you be down on Broadway tomorrow night just dancing in the streets? Will there be? Will you take part in civil disobedience?
I mean, the hype train, Gus. If you went anywhere near that
Get
score,
to sit around for 13 days and enjoy the hype.
the hype train that will run away from Salt Lake City, if you went anywhere around there, will be deserved and also uncontrollable. And because I don't know. I just really can't see this Utah team being secretly bad. Maybe they're not as good as they look.
Right.
But unless they have a key or a couple key injuries, and then they wind up like 7-5, I don't know. I think that this is going to be clearly a top 5 team in the Big 12. And in my mind, if I said give me 3 teams that you think legitimately could win the Big 12 right now, who would those 3 be?
Yeah, Utah's on that list.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're 4 games in. This time last year, them and OSU were playing and they were both ranked, right? And then we saw where that went.
Yeah.
Right around this time, Arizona State, the eventual Big 12 champ, came to Lubbock and got beat. I mean, so whatever happens, nobody's going to anoint us as champions or whatever else. But it is the thing that would be exciting about it would be the a key maybe we are really good. Maybe we can go on the road and win. Which we're going to have to do 5 times in conference play this year.
But that being said, I also don't think like seeing a result like that is crazy by any means. Mm-hmm. Just like I don't think it's crazy to think that you could win. This could be a really low scoring game, right? Like we feel great about the offense, but what's interesting about Utah is we've talked plenty about their offense. We've talked about, you know, their defensive front and how much you need to give Morton time. But we also haven't, like, this is one of the things that I don't think has really been talked about. Last year, granted, they had the quarterback injury. Again, cry everybody in the Big 12 a river, right? That was the second best defense in the conference, right behind Utah from a point per game average. And I mean, they did everything in their power to give a horrific offense, not as bad as Houston's, but a horrific offense chances to win week in and week out, right? Typically, I would say defense is the better unit for Utah. And this year, we just really haven't talked about the defense as a whole. Like, we've talked about some specific players, you know, like John Henry Daly. We've talked about Lander Barton, their middle linebacker / tight end sometimes. I know, isn't that cool? And even like Tao Johnson, a safety, has got some mention. But, you know, as much as I'm looking forward to, like, hey, if you can stop their offense or if you can have a really good day with your defensive front against their offensive line specifically, then you can do that against anybody. But I think the same thing could be said if you can go into Utah against this defense that's replaced a lot, but I still think is going to be hanging around top 3 again statistically. If you can go have a good day against this defense in their house, then I walk away thinking the same thing with the offense, right? Like, hey, you can score on anybody in the conference. Yeah. Because I think the 3 best defenses, maybe 4 best defenses right now until we see more out of them. I think BYU's defense is legit. I think Utah's defense is legit. I think you're in there for sure. And then Iowa State. You're not going to see Iowa State unless you see them in the Big 12 championship game. So, I mean, outside of BYU, this could be specifically the best defense you see all season long. So if you find a way to move the ball consistently, if you find a way to score points on them, that's, again, go back to the hype train and the confidence that'll be leaving Salt Lake City, and there should be. Taller task, easier said than done, but still.
I can't tell you how many different ways and different times that I've played this game out in my head and what it's going to be like and all. And there have been many times I've landed on the last 2 trips to Ames. Okay, so it's going to be 13-10 late in the game, you know, that kind of a deal. Like, oh my gosh, you know, where you know our teams that weren't necessarily, at least certainly last year, that weren't necessarily consistent, very good on defense, however we want to say that, ended up putting together a heck of a good effort in a really defense first type win, and obviously the game winning drive there at the end. But 2 low scoring games last time we went to Ames. Both times weather were involved. Looks like not going to have to deal with a ton of weather tomorrow. But I just think about it playing out. Is this going to be? I mean, we all pick games. We all pick scores in the 30-21. That kind of I don't know where my number ended up, but we were all in that range. Nobody said, well, 16-13.
What's the minimum score? And I apologize if I asked you this yesterday. I don't think I did, but I had it written down to ask you. But like, what's the minimum score if I said you scored this many points that you said you think you won that game, or you were really confident that you won that game?
I know. I think we're kicking around the number like if that thing has a 3 in front of it.
That's where I'm at.
Take care of business.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know what that. I don't know if that. I mean, the over under was drifting into the high 50s. 56, 59, something like that. And so that's not necessarily predicting a game that's 20-17, obviously.
Right.
It's also not predicting 45-42.
Sure. Somewhere in that sweet spot hanging around there.
30-27 type game.
Yeah. Let us know what you think on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. When we come back, Kyler will have a play of the day right here on Double T 97.3.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, Double2SportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank, keeping us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll get to some more of those thoughts and comments, some more score predictions coming in through the chat line as well. But first, DJ Puddin has a play of the day.
Lost 3. Morton going to throw it on second down deep, and it's Douglas that has the catch. Breaks the tackle. He's headed for the end zone. Touchdown, Red Raiders. Exodus Ayers was defending. He went up, as did Douglas. Douglas comes down with the football. Ayers tries to tackle him, but falls off of him, and Douglas ends up waltzing into the end zone, and it's a 13-0 Red Raider lead.
Caleb Douglas was on the receiving end of a 61-yard touchdown, the longest of the season thus far. The Red Raider wide receivers have gotten off to a hot start this year. The offense has in general. We have Coy Aiken with 229, Terrence Carter 194, Caleb Douglas 158, and even Jacoby Williams with 150 receiving yards. We're going to need a really big game from all of these receivers tomorrow, not only tomorrow, but for the remainder of the season. So I look forward to it.
And it's funny of your main core, right? Reggie Virgil has 135, but arguably has some of the most, if these games would have been close, at least like early touchdowns, has some of your more early impactful touchdowns, right? Tied for the lead with Coy with 3 grabs so far. A couple of those have just been like the one towards the end of the half against Kent State was physical. Yes. I mean, just really, really, really tough. And so I really like this core. Obviously, if I told you, or if I asked you who you expected, if I told you one player from the receiver room had a really big day in Utah, it's hard to tell, right? Because it's been pretty balanced. But if I told you just one had a big day, who would you guess?
Man, I think it'd be our old Florida Gator. I think he's lighting it up tomorrow. How about that? He's our deep threat. He's the one that we're coming into the season with. How about it's him?
I think my guess would be you could again. This could you could.
There's no wrong answer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, unless you're going like Price Morgan here. Nothing against him. I'm just not picturing seeing him very much. I think I might guess Terrence Carter, just because he's really been a feature of the offense.
That's very true, and I will be
not
fascinated.
That the other guys haven't been, but
we talked about that the other day. And what do I know about that level of technicality? I just remember watching the way the Patriots use Gronkowski and motioning him into mismatches, motion him out and see who follows him. Is it a linebacker chasing him out there, or is it a corner, a wee little feller? That kind of stuff. Or does somebody shifting out to cover him set up a mismatch with the slot inside him? I'll be curious to see how that goes, and especially with what we understand to be a bunch of man. And a bunch of single coverage type stuff. And there may be, one high safety. Who knows? That's getting into the weeds there. But this is a year where the tight ends. First of all, the stigma, if that's the word, was that offensive coordinator never used tight ends, and I got to throw the tight ends. Blah blah blah. We kind of heard that a lot in the offseason, and then one of the audio clips, we may have played it on this show, maybe not. Him talking about. Yeah, somebody told me the other day that in that one game we threw the tight ends more than I've ever thrown to tight ends ever.
Yeah.
Well, one thing about it, you got a different breed of cat out there. This isn't just any old tight end.
This isn't even like any old receiving tight end.
This isn't some dude we're trying to sneak out once a year into the back of the end zone to catch that 2-point conversion. These dudes are like big receivers. And you know what? There might be a lot of blocking this weekend. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what to expect.
You know what's funny? Because Utah coming into tomorrow has 8 passes defended, but the number you're really looking at is the 4 interceptions. They have one player with 2, and one of them he brought back to the house. I believe that was against Cal Poly, and it's Jackson Benny. He's listed as a safety, but really he's really more of like at what you would think of a nickelback. It's all star, safety, nickelback, all of this. He's close to the line of scrimmage, and he's not covering on the outside, and they bring him up a lot. And then 2 of their other interceptions are from linebackers. And you look at that, and on those interceptions that they've had this year, it's been bringing guys up to the line of scrimmage. It's been a quarterback getting nervous because he's under pressure and not paying attention as he gets it out quick. And bad decision, Utah ball. And that's what they want, right? That's
sure.
That plays exactly into their hands. So that again goes into now. I think in his history, this is something that like the PFF guys certainly love to know. This is about the only thing I didn't enjoy hearing from them all week. It's like, oh well, the only knock on Behren Morton so far is in his career he hasn't been graded out very well when he's faced heavy pressure. It's like, okay, well show me the quarterback that has when he's got a guy in his face, right? Or getting a hand on him.
I guess
taking
somebody
shots.
has to be the best with a hand in his face, but nobody's going to grade out well, I guess. But yeah, I'm with you.
But
that's important.
If there are times,
it's probably important to his NFL prospects as well.
Sure.
I mean, the ability to deal with that is a big part of that game.
But I think that this is going to be a big test because I'm hoping you protect him really, really well, but I just can't imagine any sort of game on Saturday where he's not facing duress at least a few times, right? Just because Utah is really good, right? They're going to meet him at some point, and if I had to guess, they're really gonna, if they put you in a 3rd and long or something like that, big play like that. I think this goes into a game where Behren Morton is going to have to be good, but he's also probably going to have to make 5 or 6 game-deciding plays. And you could probably say the same thing about Devin Dampier. And so who performs better in that, I think, is one of those like swing comparisons. But, we're talking about guys that could have big receiving days. When you think of that, okay, well, if there are those plays, that's where I think of like, well, Terrence Carter, you can use him. We've seen him be used on deep routes. We've seen him be used on crossing routes. We've seen him be used short RPO. We've seen him used in the screen game. But who else have we seen on short routes who's been incredible so far, or quick routes, however you want to lock it in? It's Jacoby Williams. And so I wonder, could he have a big day when you put all that together?
And I mean, the numbers that jumped out last week from those guys was like we had a ton of, and I need to look at this. Like I'd be curious to know what a typical team's percentage is for yards after catch. Typically that's going to be 60% of your team, or of your yards, or 40% or whatever. But last week, 290 of the roughly 480, big number, and that's not a yards after contact. That's just yards after catch. Mm-hmm. So, that's dudes doing something with their legs after they catch it. Seems like a big deal. That seems like a high number to me. But again, I haven't. It's the kind of thing when to sit down. But that's over 60% of the yards.
Yeah. Well, that's something that
the other thing was I think our screen game was really good last week, and I think that may be a big deal this week.
I would think
so. Be physical on the edges like that.
I can't imagine it's not going to be in the mix with the type of defense that Utah runs.
But if it's 2-on-2, throw it out there, beat one guy and block the other.
But what you're pointing out, like. Something that I really like about this offense is, yes, it lets Behren attack downfield, but it also, it lets playmakers be playmakers. Here's the ball in space. Go make a man or two miss while hopefully rabid blocking is happening in front of you downfield. So far, so good. Price of admission jumps up tomorrow. It's Tech Talk, Double T 97.3.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. Clint, Gus, and Kyler behind the glass taking care of us. Thanks for joining us for a Friday edition. Keep hitting us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line with whatever you got. We got this on the Yates Flooring Center chat line from old Razzle Dazzle. Gus is a Rolex wearing, long skid calling, gator boot rocking, electrolyte drinking, baseball playing son of a gun, and he's having a hard time trying to hold those gators down.
I like it.
That's good. That was you as the nature boy. That
Oh,
was really
okay,
well done.
I got it. Thank you.
It was really well done.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm so hyped for this game, but also so ready for it to be over. It's how I felt for the basketball national championship game. Hyped, but ready for the stress to be over. You know,
I'm telling you, we're all going to need this open week next week just to calm down.
Yeah, everybody go take a breather.
That game on the
maybe take in some fall fishing. Who knows?
The game in early October in Houston's not going to be a picnic.
No, that game got a lot more difficult the more that you watch Houston. But what I think is interesting, because I do think that this is, at least in recent memory, the most excited and also the game with the most anxiety for a conference opener in some time. And I think there's a reason for that. Obviously, you go into everything that we have talked about since January, start there, and you, as you scout out who your non-conference is, you're basically just going, hey, don't screw it up, right? Well, guess what? You did more than just not screw it up. You went and played really well. And then the more you see from Utah and around the Big 12, it also goes, okay, well, I mean, this could be your biggest regular season test, depending on who improves and how the rest of the season goes. And so the other part to me is there's a lot of unknown in this game, right? Like, my opinion is you have a loaded offense that is explosive and a dominant defense that's pretty good on the back end, and you might have some of the best linebackers as an entire core, especially if you're lumping in the star with John Curry in the Big 12. My opinion of Utah is that they might have the best running attack in the conference. I think they have a competent to really big playmaking quarterback, depending who's there, and a defense that's always salty. But then in the back of your mind, right?
And a good environment, noisy
right, good
environment, sure.
But like just looking at the teams like that, but then you also go, okay, you never know what's going to happen though when for both teams when this is clearly the best team you have seen yet, and so you haven't got to see how either team responds to adversity, and both teams are going to face adversity in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, we've heard that phrase used a lot. What's gonna have me get punched in the mouth?
Sure,
that kind of thing. Respond to adversity, however you want to say it. And there's some truth to that. They've probably played more plays this year on edge because they didn't go into that UCLA going okay, we're going to coast to this thing. In the early part of that game, you're thinking, hey,
they did not know 2 more games and that coach would be fired.
Right, they didn't know, and so they came out probably on edge the first little bit. And I'm not saying we didn't come out on edge against UAPB, but I'm sure they're like, hey, we're going to be fine if we give up a first down here, and should be okay. And then it ended up like the first game that we probably played on our real edge is my word, but you get what I'm saying. Where it felt like, hey, if you don't do things right, it's not going to go well, was last week. And then that was kind of wonky with a 2-hour lightning delay after 7 plays and all that. But that's the one thing. I'm sure that's part of every speech and everything that Coach McGuire's talked about with the team is, hey, something bad may happen tomorrow. What's next? Right? That's one of his mottos. What's next? Is that going to be us going out and having a series where we get a couple first downs and then gets noisy and we jump off sides and pre-snap junk and whatever and get behind early? I mean, and the place gets cantankerous. What's that look like? Who knows? Is it just us trading scores for a quarter, or it's 3-0 at half? Which was their score last week in Wyoming. I don't know what that is, but just us playing through a stretch of uncertainty. Now, all that said, I'd love it if we get out 14-0 and make them play from behind and maybe change their personality a little bit.
I think that's the last thing that they want.
Yeah, I do too, and I think they're probably capable of it. I mean, they probably feel like he can get back there and sling it and run around and get them back into a game, but maybe make them play one-handed or left-handed, maybe the better way to say that. But that was the old Coach Knight thing, right?
Right.
And it's kind of the Knight thing across one sport. Parcells, used to say that. Belichick, those guys want to take away the best thing they do. Okay, what's that mean? We're going to stop the run, right?
Yeah.
You think so.
And that's
Make this guy beat us with his arm?
Yes, I think that's exactly. And you know what? If he goes out and proves it, hey, I should be in the Heisman contention, then that happens. But I think I can't imagine you'll have an overly successful day defensively, anyways. If you can't stop or at least handle the run consistently, right? Like they're going to get something, but can you limit chunk plays and can you force them into some third and longs and then take advantage? Because, as you know, this is something else that, it said that I don't think we've really talked about much, really focusing in, because when we've talked about just how good their offensive line is versus just how good your defensive line is, when we focused on one-on-one battles, Gus, who's it been? It's been like, David Bailey and Romello Height versus Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fano.
Yeah,
but we haven't talked
tackles, 2 outstanding edge rushers.
But as far as the running game goes, I mean, Skylar Gill-Howard, Lee Hunter, A.J. Holm, those guys have to dominate just as much, right, against 3 redshirt seniors who are pretty good. And that's when we really haven't talked about them. But it's like we've, at least in my mind, maybe we take it for granted that we're like, yeah, you don't got to worry about them. They'll be fine.
Sure.
and they're going to get tested just as much, right?
Well, and I think the grades for their O-line point to, if there's any weakness to that group, it's inside.
Yeah.
It's, maybe a center and a guard.
And maybe not weakness, but
Right.
not
exactly.
the high-end NFL
Sure.
talent. Because their center and left guard specifically could start on almost every
Pretty
piece of
good,
line
yeah.
and be just fine.
It's a relative weakness, not weakness.
Yeah. It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. We're getting closer and closer to that kick, well within 24 hours now.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.